Hey friends, how are you? It's my favorite part of the day when I get to talk to you. All right, here's the question for today. What I want to know is, do you guys make your bed every day? Some people do, some people don't. We were having a discussion about this the other day. I want to know if you make your bed every day or if you don't, and why. So we're not really bed makers, but we usually will pull our sheets up to the front so it looks made. And if I'm feeling really great, I put all the pillows on there. I did today because, let's see, there we go. All the pillows are there. And so anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know. I want to know if you are a bed maker or not. If you went to the other side of my bed, you would see my sheet hanging way down low. So it's not really made, but it looks kind of made. So today I wanted to talk to you about crippling fear. Have you ever been paralyzed with fear? And how to deal with that. I put on the intro, alone in your mind is a dangerous place to be. That's the quote that my mom always says to me, and I think that's such a great quote. Hey Autumn, how are you? It's such a great quote. Alone in your mind is a dangerous place to be, and that's why we can't go there alone in our minds, because we get in that dangerous and dark place where our mind kind of gets carried away, right? So I want to tell you about an experience I had. Hey Thomas. Last weekend where I literally got crippled with fear, and the weird thing is it's about something I really love. So you need to know about me. One thing is that my happy place is on the water. I love paddleboarding in Tahoe. I like kayaking. Like, if I had a choice, I would be paddleboarding in Tahoe right now, just floating around in the water and looking down in the water and just having a good old time. So you have to know I totally love paddleboarding. But last weekend we had a chance. My father-in-law was so kind and he said, hey, I'm leaving Tahoe for a couple of days. Do you guys want to go up for a couple of days? So we said, sure, yeah, that would be really fun. So on the way there, it was a Thursday, we are driving, we're halfway there, and then all of a sudden the car starts smoking, and smoke is like pouring out the back of the car. And so we pull over, we had to wait for a tow truck and everything, which is really weird. Sorry, I have like a hair in my mouth. It's really weird because we had just had it serviced, so we ended up having to, the tow truck driver was great. It was like a gift from God. And he took us to an hour away and even put our luggage in the in the truck. And then, hey Kathy. And then he dropped us off at the hotel after he dropped our car off, because it was like 11 o'clock at night. The service was closed, so he dropped us off. That was awesome. So we had this situation where our plans totally changed. So we ended up sitting there for hours on the side of the road. And you know, I was struggling with my attitude a little bit. You guys probably saw the video, maybe I had posted it up. So then the next morning we woke up and it was the best of every scenario. In the service, they had overfilled the transmission fluid. So thank goodness nothing was broken. We got fixed. We get on the way. So this is Friday. And so we're on the way to Tahoe. We're almost to where we broke down before, and we get rear-ended on the interstate. So everybody came to a stop. We stopped inches shy of the person in front of us, and unfortunately the guy behind us didn't have enough room to stop. And he says it's not his fault, but we'll work all that out. But anyway, so it was probably within 12 hours we had gotten our car broke down, and then we got rear-ended. Everybody was fine. Everybody was okay. So we get up to Tahoe finally later that day, and I'm walking, and this bird poops right on my head. And it was so gross. It was like running down, and I ran to the car. I had Damien to drop me off. I ran to the car, I'm like, this bird pooped on my head. So it's like he's trying to pick poop out of my head, and it was so disgusting. It was terrible. And so within 24 hours, we had 3 things go really wrong. And you know, the thing that happens is, like, in my head, I started getting alone inside my head. I started thinking, we're not supposed to be here. These are signs. Something's wrong. We're not supposed to be here. These are things we should have turned around and gone back. So I started getting paralyzed with fear. And so the next day, we are going to head down. We go to our favorite beach. It's closed. It was just really not a good trip. So we said, oh, we'll go to a different beach. So we go there, and we're walking up to the paddleboarding thing. And I love paddleboarding again. So we're walking up to get the paddleboards. And all of a sudden, I told the girls, I said, go inside. I need to talk to Dad. So I pulled him aside and I said, Damien, I am so scared to go paddleboarding. And I was literally like, my stomach was hurting, my head was hurting. And he goes, what? Why would you be scared? And I'm like, everything's gone wrong. What if it's a sign and we're not supposed to go paddleboarding? And what if something's gonna go wrong? And I just had built up this whole thing in my head. And he's like, well, what could go wrong? I'm like, I don't know. Somebody could fall off and hit their head on a rock or something. I was just like, my stomach was in knots about going paddleboarding. It's ridiculous. And so he stopped and he just kind of, I needed to get it off my chest because I needed to tell him, I'm really, really scared. I don't want to do this. And then he said, well, of course, the great question, what would you tell the people that you talk to on your life builders every day to do? And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, ended up going paddleboarding. It was great, no accidents, but it really taught me something. Like, I was really paralyzed with fear, and sometimes when things are going wrong, we can add it up in our mind as something's not right. So I want to give you 3 keys to get out of that paralyzing fear when it has a grip on you. The first key is don't be alone inside your head. You need to talk it out. Just bringing things out into the light is what kind of dispels that darkness, right? And so that when me pulling him aside to say, I'm really scared to go paddleboarding, you know, that was my way of just getting it out there. And once I said it, I was like, that sounds so silly. Why am I so scared about this silly thing that will probably never happen? We waste so much time and energy being scared about things that will probably never happen. So number 1 is talk to somebody that you trust. Just get it out in the air, and you might even laugh when you say it. You might be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was worried about that. Number 2 is, and this is hard, especially if you're a person who's worked to listen to your intuition, is recognize that fear is causing those physical effects. Because like my stomach was in knots, I'm telling you. I was like really, really upset. My body was upset. But it's because of the fear. And once I stopped and I went, oh, that's not my gut feeling. That's my fear, making the fear chemicals, making my body have that reaction. I was able to stop and say, okay. And number 3 is, the third tip is, whatever it is that's causing you that fear, take a deep breath and walk through it. Just every breath, if you have to, get out there and you're going to overcome that fear. And you know, whether it's not touching a spider, or whether it's, you know, applying for a college, applying for a job, you know, whatever that fear is, just breathe through it and go for it. And number 4, if you're a believer and you are faith-based too, you know, you can pray about it, because it says perfect love casts out every fear. That's what the Bible says. And so if you have that option, you know, you can also use that to say, you know what, I'm safe and I'm loved and I'm cared for, and this is going to be okay. So anyway, that's the 3 tips. Well, I made it 4, but 3 tips to work through paralyzing fear. 1 is put it out loud, say it out loud. Number 2 is to recognize that what you're feeling is fear and all the effects of it. And number 3 is to just breathe through it and go through it and face your fears. And when you get to the other side, you're going to be like, oh, that was awesome. And number 4, if you're a faith-based believer, then you can pray about it. So that's 4 ways to get through that. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Don't forget to leave me a comment on whether you make your bed or not. I want to know, do you make your bed every day? Or do you leave it unmade every day? All right, have a great day, guys. Love you. Bye.